Now, what you see here is our online interface of Ithaca, where we will paste the text of the inscription and we will hide that word with question marks.
The neural network.
But before the Aztecs and before the Maya, there were a culture who are referred to as the Olmecs. Again, we don't know what they called themselves.
A profound mystery silent for over 3 millennia is beginning to unravel, not by human hands, but by the cold logic of a machine. What if a sophisticated hybrid AI system is now reading the messages left by the Olmec, Mesoamerica's most ancient and enigmatic civilization? Before the Aztecs and the Maya, the Olmec culture flourished, leaving behind enigmatic glyphs carved in stone that have frustrated archaeologists for generations. Now, something has fundamentally changed. We are getting the first glimpses of what these symbols truly mean, and the implications are not just academic, they are potentially alarming. This breakthrough is not the product of human intuition, but of algorithmic pattern recognition, and it's already triggering heated debate. According to multiple sources within archaeological circles, a specialized research team based at a prominent university in Veracruz, Mexico, has been quietly working with a cutting-edge AI. This is not a standard neural network. It is a bespoke system that combines symbolic pattern recognition with large language models trained on thousands of Mesoamerican motifs. Its approach is novel. It doesn't attempt direct translation. Instead, it identifies powerful statistical correlations between the Olmec symbol clusters and known celestial events, agricultural cycles, and the cosmological systems of later civilizations. The initial results are staggering. For the first time, there's compelling evidence that these symbols are not mere decoration. One translated sequence makes repeated reference to what the AI identifies as a sun serpent that opens the Earth every 52 seasons. This description aligns perfectly with the Venus synodic cycle, a 52-year cycle that was a cornerstone of later Maya astronomical knowledge. This is no coincidence. It is a direct correlation, suggesting the Olmec possessed sophisticated celestial tracking systems centuries, perhaps even millennia, earlier than ever thought possible. Another cluster of symbols appears to encode a calendar alignment tracking both solstices and lunar eclipses with astonishing precision. If verified, these findings would force a complete reassessment of early scientific knowledge in the Americas. The implications, however, extend far beyond astronomy. The AI's analysis reveals that these symbols may encode the cosmology, star patterns, and timekeeping of an entire civilization. A specific symbol, a distinctive coiled spiral, appears repeatedly, consistently alongside what researchers are cautiously describing as an energy map or offering chart. This systematic recording seems to track resources and natural phenomena tied to celestial alignments. Some researchers speculate it represents agricultural planning based on seasonal changes. Others suggest it could be a map encoding information about water sources, mineral deposits, or sacred sites across the Olmec heartland. The appearance of similar spiral motifs at multiple sites, separated by considerable distances, points to a standardized symbolic language far more sophisticated than previously attributed to this ancient culture. This is where the story takes a concerning turn. Multiple sources have confirmed that a senior researcher from a prominent Mexico City laboratory has formally requested complete publication pause on all findings. We need time to validate these interpretations through rigorous peer review, the researcher wrote in a leaked internal memo. The implications are too significant to rush this process. The reason for such caution appears to be what is circulating on encrypted academic forums. The AI has identified something far more practical than mythology. The glyphs appear to contain highly structured, non-mythological data, precise quantities, directional indicators, and geographic alignments. Researchers are describing them as resource markers or yield predictors. This isn't religious text. It's a systematic record of something practical, resembling an early form of agricultural engineering and sophisticated land use logic that predates anything previously documented in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. Perhaps most intriguingly, the system appears to correlate specific glyph clusters with geographical features across the Olmec heartland, suggesting evidence of landscape-level planning and resource management. that could dramatically change our understanding of this civilization. The Olmec may not have been just artists and builders, but methodical scientists and engineers capable of transmitting complex environmental knowledge across generations. The most concerning aspect for some is evidence that certain patterns might correlate with mineral deposits and aquifer locations, strategic resources that remain valuable today. This raises uncomfortable questions about who should control access to this knowledge. As one researcher noted, we're not just translating ancient texts. We might be unlocking a comprehensive survey of resources and systems that still exist beneath our feet. The AI has also identified recurring patterns that are generating controversy. One is a spiral-like symbol that bears a striking resemblance to a DNA double helix. While the Olmec couldn't have known about DNA, the AI has mapped this symbol's usage to contexts of growth, fertility, and what appear to be agricultural lineages, essentially tracking biological inheritance patterns in plants or even family bloodlines. Another puzzling symbol, a stepped triangle within a circle, was analyzed by the AI, which then generated heat maps showing a striking correlation with basalt procurement sites, areas where the Olmec quarried and transported massive stone blocks. The symbol also appears with greater frequency near natural hot springs or zones of volcanic activity, suggesting a sophisticated awareness of thermal engineering principles that may have been crucial to their monumental construction techniques. These findings are not just isolated observations. The AI has mapped connections between the symbols that suggest a coherent, methodical framework for understanding and harnessing natural processes. Researchers are now cautiously suggesting the Olmec may have developed an early form of empirical science. We're not talking about mysticism here, explained one source. The AI is showing us patterns that look remarkably like early scientific notation. The reaction within academic circles has been profound, centering on the disruptive implications for our entire understanding of pre-Columbian intellectual history. If the Olmec were systematically documenting celestial cycles, agricultural patterns, and geographic resources with such precision, it pushes the timeline for sophisticated scientific observation back by centuries. Furthermore, patterns suggest a standardized symbolic language shared across a much wider geographic area than previously thought, hinting at networks of knowledge exchange far earlier than conventional models allow. Most tantalizingly, the decoding might reveal still undiscovered sites. Using geographic coordinates potentially embedded in the glyphs, researchers have already used LiDAR to identify anomalous features east of La Venta, what appears to be a previously unknown ceremonial complex, aligned precisely with celestial markers from the translated texts. If the AI's interpretation is correct, we may have just found a completely new Olmec center, one source explained. These findings also challenge our fundamental understanding of what constitutes writing itself. The Olmec system appears to be a sophisticated hybrid, neither purely pictographic nor phonetic, that encoded both practical knowledge and cosmological understanding, a system for which our modern categories do not account. Lurking behind this academic excitement is a thorny ethical dilemma. Who owns this knowledge? The AI system was not developed in isolation. It emerged from a collaboration between academic archaeologists and a private tech AI laboratory that provided the proprietary algorithms. This unprecedented scenario of 3,000-year-old knowledge being unlocked by 21st century proprietary technology has no legal framework. The stakes are enormous. These symbols might contain invaluable insights into sustainable agriculture, drought-resistant cultivation, and natural pest management, information that could be worth billions in today's climate-challenged world. Several major agricultural corporations have already made quiet inquiries about accessing the decoded data. The ethical questions extend far beyond commercial applications. Many glyphs appear in ritual contexts and may encode ceremonial knowledge, sacred to the descendants of Mesoamerican peoples. If the AI decodes information about sacred sites or cultural practices, who has the right to access or control it? Indigenous rights advocates argue these symbols represent the intellectual and spiritual heritage of living communities, whose voices must be centered in any decisions. Legal experts note that while laws protect tangible artifacts, the legal status of decoded ancient knowledge remains murky, creating a situation of completely uncharted territory at the intersection of AI, archaeology, indigenous rights, and intellectual property. Of all the patterns identified, one glyph, the gate symbol, stands out. This distinctive arrangement, framed by step motifs and solar arc indicators, is not merely decorative. The AI consistently flagged it as appearing alongside directional markers that seem to be geographic coordinates. When researchers fed these associated markers into geographic information systems, the algorithm highlighted a previously undocumented ridge system approximately 37 kilometers east of the major Olmec center of La Venta. Initial LiDAR scans revealed geometric anomalies, buried linear structures, platform mounds, and a series of aligned depressions correlate perfectly with solstice path indicators associated with the gate symbol. The statistical probability of this being a coincidence is effectively zero. What's more, the AI decoded temporal elements associated with the glyph, tracking solar positions at key times of the year. When mapped onto the geographic location, these elements create a precise annual calendar of shadow and light effects across the site's architectural features. It is an ancient solar calendar encoded in stone, one that only fully activates at this specific, hidden location. Field teams are now conducting surveys under high security, and initial scans have confirmed substantial buried structures. The site appears to have been deliberately concealed, designed to be invisible unless you knew exactly what markers to look for, markers preserved in these symbols for millennia. It is crucial, however, to ground these extraordinary claims in what is definitively known. The cornerstone of Olmec writing research remains the Cascadel block, a serpentine slab discovered in 2006 containing 62 distinct glyphs. Its discovery was a monumental event, suggesting writing in the Americas began around 900 BCE. But despite 2 decades of intensive study by the world's leading epigraphers, the Cascadel block remains officially undeciphered. Without a bilingual text like the Rosetta Stone, traditional decipherment is extraordinarily challenging. Furthermore, while AI has been used to successfully reconstruct damaged texts, such as carbonized Herculaneum scrolls or cuneiform tablets, these applications always involve known languages with substantial training data sets. The AI that reads ancient Greek was trained on thousands of examples of Greek writing. The AI that reconstructs cuneiform works because researchers have digitized tens of thousands of examples. With the Olmec, there's no Rosetta Stone and no large corpus of text. Any AI interpretation, therefore, necessarily involves statistical inference, and the meaning assigned to these patterns requires extraordinary caution. The current research is so intriguing because it acknowledges this, focusing on correlations with known features of Mesoamerican cosmology, astronomy, and geography rather than claiming a direct translation. Whether one accepts the full decipherment claims or not, we are witnessing a fundamental shift in how we approach the past. The tools are evolving faster than our interpretive frameworks. Officially, the Olmec writing system remains undeciphered. No peer-reviewed journal has published a comprehensive translation, but unofficially, the conversation has irrevocably changed. These preliminary, AI-assisted analyses have opened new possibilities, showing us the first tentative steps toward understanding not through a dramatic eureka moment, but through the gradual accumulation of statistical correlations that may eventually reveal the system's logic. Perhaps the Olmec weren't trying to record spoken language at all, but were developing a different kind of literacy altogether, a sophisticated system for encoding the relationships between phenomena. The AI has opened a door to this possibility, and the question now is whether we are ready to step through it.